I want you, sir, to help us, for the purpose of the viewers who are probably not in Benin City, help us give us a brilliant summary of the feud that has occurred, the imbroglio that has occurred between the executive governor, current executive governor outgoing, and his deputy. Just lay a foundation and let us know what the status is as at present. All right, can you hear me, sir? Mr. Frank, can you hear me?
Very, very clear.
Okay.
Now,
so go on.
I want to establish, let me start from the point. I can hear you clearly, very clear.
All right, go on.
Sir Martin Lipset wrote a book he published about 5 years ago. The title of the book is Political Man. In that book, he stated categorically that democracy as a system of government stands on 2 fundamental pillars pari passu. What are those pillars? The pillars of conflict and the pillar of consensus. So in any democratic venture or voyage, there is always a balance or some form of equilibrium between conflict and consensus at the same time, as far as the frameworks are properly exploited within the law. So on the issue of Obaseki and the deputy governor, unfortunately, Obaseki has hardly ever spoken on it, apart from some of his aides and a few folks who pander towards him or who lean towards him.
No, but you know, in the media, we hear all sorts of things. I can guarantee you that we have more than 15 different videos of Obaseki making comments over the political party PDP, his position with his deputy, especially before he sent him out of the government house, which we have even also tried to confirm. So we have video evidences of Obaseki making comments about it. But you can continue.
I think, okay, I get your point, because I guess I mixed up the issues a little. Because the comments he made pertain to, the conflict had 2 phases. You know, the first one was the one where the deputy governor went to court.
True.
To say that there was, for the court to bar the governor and the House of Assembly from attempt at impeaching him.
Yes.
Of course, the governor responded then. I'm actually talking about, they've gone past that stage because by some dint of happenstance, they said there was peace, to the point that the deputy governor even apologized, and it's in public domain.
Yes.
So I felt that phase was by the side. Before this present one where the issue has come up again. Of course, we know that in politics, sometimes issues are never really resolved until the entire process is over. So I have a stand on this matter. Personally, that all this stuff is ongoing is a reflection of the failure in our practice of this presidential system of democracy. Like I made reference earlier, where I still said I put the bulk of the blame to a large extent on Obasanjo, because everything starts and ends on the table of leadership. He started it. That's why I said so. Now, in a proper democracy, some of all these things will not be heard of. What is the essence of a nation state but for clearly articulated laws? Anybody who steers the ship of state will normally exploit it to whatever extent where the laws are vague. What this indicates, in my opinion, and Edo State is not the first case, it has happened in other places. I'm not putting the blame on Obaseki or putting the blame on the deputy governor or anybody per se. I am putting the blame on the deficit in the system of government in practice. You don't hear of such in more decent democracies, even in West Africa. So it's because there are no clear-cut laws to ensure that things are done properly. That is why chief executives, presidents, or governors can push it beyond the limit, because where the law is vague, men will assume their status or take due advantage, as the case may be. So that is what we're experiencing. It's very unfortunate. I was telling somebody recently that if Baron de Montesquieu were alive today, he would be crying without tears to shed. Because when he propounded the theory of separation of powers in the piece he wrote about 3 centuries ago, the spirit of the laws, the viewpoint was to promote governments where there is partnership, there is division but harmony in purpose. That is why there is the executive, there is the judiciary, and there is the legislature. But in Nigeria today, some scholars have said that what we actually have is 1.5 system of government. Some people say it's 1. in the sense that we don't have three arms. Now we have just executive arms, and we have the judiciary as a miniature appendage. Why the legislature does not exist, but for the purpose of rubber stamping whatever the executive thinks. If it were a functional democracy, where is the legislature to ask questions? They are supposed to question the process, because whatever is ongoing, the feud between the governor and the deputy, whether it's good or bad, it impugns upon their capacity, it impugns upon the image of the state, especially when they are the ones that fly the flag.
Okay, still...
So that's what I'm telling you presently. Edo State is peaceful, no doubt.
Okay.
The deputy governor has a right to contest.
So,
if I want to address it from the standpoint of the policy of what is going on, let me tell you something free of charge.
Let's extend.
Let me tell you something free of charge.
Yes, no, hang on. Let's extend this conversation now.
Okay.
Still standing on your argument. Are you saying that Governor Obaseki has done what he ought to do as the executive governor, and he does not share in any of the blame? It is probably Obaseki, it is probably Shuaibu that has overreacted to a reasonable extent. Where is your own position? I want to know from your political ideology, because you have propounded a lot of theories from very, very lettered sociologists and philosophers. So what is your political ideology? Do you think it's Shuaibu that is taking it a little bit too far? Because a lot of people say Obaseki, yet again, although they are still at the realms of allegations, that Obaseki was using the instrument of the office of the governor to actually try to intimidate him. But we are not staying on this topic for too long because we have other issues to cover. Please respond.
I get your point. In my candid opinion, it's a jumbled up arrangement, in the sense that there's a mix of both parties going to extreme at some point. The only way to give a clearer narrative on this issue is to identify the specifics, the events that have happened over time, and address them independently. But like I said,
so
it's a mix.
Identify.
At some point, the governor was beyond the line, and at some point too, even the governor crossed the line. But I put the blame, like I said earlier, in the center, that, like they say, where there's no law, there is no sin. So if they were defined as in framework as to how things are done, if you were defined frameworks as to the capacity of the governor to take any decisions, we are not talking about this. Have you not seen how many state governments have removed the House of Assembly rules and said they are doing innovation because of a political contention? Look at the one that happened in Rivers State. They will use taxpayers' money to rebuild that place. So I'm telling you that the primary blame goes to a failed institutional framework where things are not clearly defined. So where the law is vague, people will take advantage. So if you say the governor is wrong or the deputy governor is wrong,
but it is not known.
To ascertain that for real, it has to be by a statement of the court of laws.
Mr. Frank, it is not known whether the governor at any point disobeyed any law. It's not also known that whether the deputy governor at any point disobeyed any law. So we probably may not be talking about law. We probably may be talking about the deterioration of the relationship of both parties as it affects the polity, the economy, the structure, the society of Edo State in general. I think that would be a better way to perceive it, rather than compare it to maybe someone broke the law or something. But if they did break any law, in your own opinion, please educate us.
No, Shagun, I think you missed my point.
Okay.
You missed my point. Before the era of laws, man was relegated to the state of nature. Tomoso wrote extensively on it, where life was nasty, brutish, and short. That was when they stated the evolution of laws to ensure some kind of balance and commonality in the way people perform their duties.
And relate
whatever is ongoing between the deputy governor and the governor, the framework by which it will be managed to ensure that such things don't happen, still fall back to law. Right now, have you seen any House of Assembly call a governor to question over any such things ongoing?
No.
All boils down to deficits in laws. I tell people, they say we have enough laws. The solution to lack of laws is making a more laws. There is no way issues are resolved in the affairs of men apart from resort to making laws. When we say laws, people just think that it's a case of reviewing the constitution. When they define protocol, duties are spelled out, limits are defined. There are laws too. Even the protocol of your office right now, the fact that you are sitting down and there's a certain image behind you is within the ambience of the relevant law, even if it's a framework by which you guys operate. So it's in that context I'm using the word law. It's not from the extreme viewpoint of legal complexities.
Okay, go on.
So that's why I maintain that the governor has, at some point in time, pushed it beyond the limit, and the deputy too has done the same at some point. That is the truth.
Okay.
And that is where we are. Right now, the reason why the deputy governor has come out fully again is because he perceives, mark my words, he perceives that the governor would not be able to do what he possibly would have done before. Even if we are not sure the governor was intent on doing anything. But I'm just talking from the standpoint of the political interplay.
Okay.
Of what prompted the new phase of the deputy governor's onslaught or complaint. Because he has the right to contest. Nobody can stop him.
Okay. Okay.
If he loses the ticket, so be it.
Okay.
Even if I have my bias in terms of his political interest presently.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get to that subsequently.